It's not, I mean, Tolbert's not like blasting my eardrums out.
Check 1, 2.
No, he's like, it's fine. Dude, you just have a very sharp Southern accent that just pierces my ear.
Welcome to $2 Steak, a pro wrestling podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Varnum. Joining me today, as always, Big Mike.
Yep.
Cookie.
It's your boy.
Tolbert.
We're back, baby. Post brunch.
Post brunch. Before we get anything going, we had 2 weeks off. We had 2 weeks off of vacation. It was phenomenal. We all got to rest, relax, and actually, it was fucking terrible.
It was awful.
This has been probably the craziest 2 weeks of my life, and
Definitely the shittiest 2 weeks of my life.
it has been awful. Like, it has been just 2 weeks of one thing after another. You know, we're going to get a little serious here in the next few minutes, but it has not been a great 2 weeks, and we needed this time for us. And I mean, we'll talk about it here in a second, but it has been a hell of a 2 weeks. First off, one of the funny things that happened this week, I got COVID.
It's hilarious.
And he gave me COVID.
No, I did not give Mike COVID. Mike claims that the reason why Mike found out that he had COVID was because I tested positive.
You're a hypochondriac.
I'm a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
I should buy stock in Binax Now, which is the home COVID test. I bought a bunch of those during the pandemic, and every once in a while I go to sniffle or I'll get a little cough, and I test myself regularly. I know all the rules and directions by heart now. Swab 5 times, put it in the thing, drop the activator in, close it up, wait 15 minutes, look for the pregnancy test indicator, and if you've got 2 pink lines, you are positive. If you have only 1 pink line, you were not positive. So we had a rugby game, and you know, during the pandemic, I said to myself, I am not going to play rugby right now because I could get COVID.
Mm-hmm.
During the pandemic, after I got vaccinated, and when people start, you start hearing the adage that, you know, you're outside, everything's fine, you're not going to get COVID because you're outside.
Lies.
You're outside.
They're all lies.
And I'm like, okay, so that's one reason why I think that I'm not going to get COVID by playing rugby. Another thing, vaccines. I'm vaccinated, not going to get COVID. These 2 things together mean that I'm invincible when it comes to getting this global pandemic. So we had a rugby match a couple weeks ago, our first rugby match of the season. And I said, we're going to play it. I'm not going to get COVID. Everything's good. I'm back to normal. We are back to normal here in America. I started feeling like crap on Tuesday. I tested myself. Nothing negative. I was feeling a little sniffly, a little sore. Nothing much more than that. Thursday morning, still feeling a little shitty. Tested myself, and it came up positive. And that's when the denial hit, and I said, I'm not positive. Let me take it again. JK. I took it again. Positive again.
Aaron spent $24 to double check.
Yeah, double check. I said, you were wrong.
You don't get a false result.
You were wrong. I started looking up how hard is it to get false positives, and then I read that it is a very complicated. Like, it is very accurate for
Finding COVID. Yeah, and so Aaron texts me, hey man, I just tested positive. And I go, fuck. Well, who were you hanging out with the last 5 days?
I said you. I was hanging out with you, Mike.
And so I was asymptomatic completely. It was the day we were supposed to leave for Ohio to go to a wedding. And I'm like, hey, you know, we're going to be traveling. It's cool. I can get a rapid at work for free. Technically, I'm supposed to self-report these kind of things.
Right.
So like, let me just like scoot downstairs right before I leave and get this test. Super casual about it. Everybody's like, you know, oh, you got to get a test. I'm like, it's fine. My friend's a hypochondriac. It's not a big deal. And then I'm like, go get my hair cut for this wedding. And then I'm like,
exposed
and
Queen
then
Street Barbershop.
they've already all been exposed. But
at that point, yeah.
But yeah, like I get in my car, start driving home, get a fucking call from EOH, the Employee Occupational Health, and like, hey, you tested positive. I'm like, fuck.
And then I didn't feel as bad at that point. And before that point, I was like, fuck Johnson & Johnson. Fuck them and fuck everybody else.
Let me tell you. So then I like go home. I break the news to my wife. I say, hey, we can't go. I'm COVID positive. And she felt fine. The boys felt fine. And we're like, well, then we got to go find a home test kit. And then made a test positive. So we're like, all right, we're not gonna go to Ohio. We're gonna be quarantining. It just sucks, man. I was like the first one in my entire like office department to test positive. That and like significantly affected our like schedule. And
there is an air of one, and Jasmine says I've been projecting because what the fuck was that, Cookie?
Cookie's got it.
Cookie's got it.
No, I'm smoking.
There has been an air of like I'm better than everybody up to this point.
Yeah,
because I'm like, ha ha ha.
I'm doing all the right things.
I'm so good. I've got my mask on all the time. I'm only hanging out with people outside.
Everybody I hang out with is vaccinated. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, and I have had this air of just superiority to people that get COVID, and I'm like,
But there's something you didn't factor in.
well, and what is that?
Scrums.
Scrums. I don't think that scrums have been studied as much as they should be.
For the folks at home that don't play rugby, scrums are when you bash together with everyone in
Basically,
the front row.
16 guys get together, bear hug each other,
and you breathe in each other's mouths.
Pretty much.
I can smell the breath of my competitor, but I can tell you, Saturday, if I would have scrummed the next week, I couldn't smell the breath of anybody because I lost my sense of taste and I lost my sense of smell.
Well, I can tell you too. You had Johnson & Johnson. I had Pfizer. Amanda had Moderna. We all got fucked. So.
Yeah, so we are what you call a breakthrough case for each of us.
But I will say, none of us were hospitalized.
No,
none of us died.
No, very mild case. I knew that I was like I still had like the air of denial, right? When I was positive and I'm sitting there, I'm like, all I have is like a stuffy nose, and then. I guess it would be 2 Saturdays ago, Jasmine was cooking bacon and the fire alarm went off and it scared the shit out of me because I could not smell the smoke that was coming out of the kitchen. And I'm like, oh my God, I have COVID. Like that was the moment. And then my taste started going away. And it's come back now, but like eating food, it made me so mad. Jasmine's sister, India, is an incredible baker. She makes all sorts of like cakes, cupcakes, everything. She's incredible. Everything's incredibly moist. So I'm so glad.
Moist is a texture, not a taste.
Well, it was a taste. It was a taste when I had COVID. I'll tell you, we have the best support group of everybody because we had India, we had Tasha Boo. Everybody was delivering groceries. Adrian and Julie. Like whenever we needed it, people would drop stuff off. Me, Terry, and Jasmine were all quarantining together, and I'm surprised that she didn't dump me after those 10 days. But India brought us over a delicious, or so I heard, carrot cake. And Jasmine, who did not test positive ever, she'd never got the virus. And Jasmine, I was like, babe, can you just describe to me this delicious carrot cake? And she's like, Oh, the flavors everything goes together so well. It's moist. It's delicious. It's the best carrot cake I've ever had. And I'm just like, great. Thanks, babe. So yeah, we did a lot of stuff around the house. I was able to do a lot of cleaning, a lot of building of things. I have a new clean house compared to what we have had in the past. But that is the tragic comedy of my hypochondriacism being patient zero for our rugby team. You know what? And I'm going to say this. I am not patient zero. I'm a fucking whistleblower. I am the person that allowed everybody on this team to know that they had COVID.
In fact, we ended up with 4 or 5 positives.
We had 5 positives on the team. Yeah. 5.
Yeah, you were the whistleblower though, because I was asymptomatic.
Everybody else was.
The whole time. I think the other guys had some slight symptoms. Shout out Pfizer there, I guess.
Yeah, well, same thing with Johnson & Johnson. Thank you, Johnson. I take back my fuck you, Johnson & Johnson, because my symptoms were very mild. I didn't have any coughs. I didn't have anything like too scary. I was anxious as all get out. You know, I was just anxious for 10 days, but I got to I worked from home. I didn't have any time off. Like it ended up being a decent 10 days of kind of a reset. But now I'm like, yeah, let's go play some rugby because now I have super antibodies against the COVID virus. So that is our COVID talk.
So Aaron, you are now
shout out to the rest of the boys who are on the road to play Fort Bragg.
Fort Bragg today. Yes, Cookie.
I was just going to say, Aaron, you are now Aaron Snowden because you are the whistleblower.
yes. Yeah, that's exactly right. I will be moving to an offshore site. I'm going to be using a VPN from here on out on my internet. Nobody will know who it is because Cape Fear, or what? Not Cape Fear. What is it? Carolina Geographic Rugby Union. I was the one to throw it in your face that COVID can also affect rugby players.
Yes.
We're too tough. All right, so let's kind of take a shift in gears. We have had one of the hardest things that happened. We said it was a very shitty 2 weeks before this. There was a guy. It is one of Tolbert's best friends passed away.
Yeah, we go way back.
Way back. And I got to meet this guy. Mike got to meet this guy.
Yeah,
Justin. We got to meet him at Tolbert's bachelor party. This guy pulls up in this big ass red F-150. I think it was like a Raptor edition, one of those like badass trucks. And I'm like, all right, that's a nice truck. And it had a big Bullet Club sign, right? And then he comes out with the villain club, Marty Skrull. We didn't know that he was a sex offender at the time. We did not know he was a piece of shit, but he had an umbrella, Marty Skrull. And I'm like, okay, so this guy is into indie shit right now, right? Yeah. And so we started talking, and I thought that I was going to hate this guy because I thought this guy was going to be the traditional, the work rate in this match is not good. But it ended up being like I bonded with him. He and I had a great time together. We talked about wrestling, a lot of wrestling references throughout the trip. We had a great time. And we kept in contact. Justin also was in Tolbert's wedding, so I got to see him again there. And then we got to have a great time with him at WrestleCade last year, or 2 years ago.
2 years, yeah.
And we just had a really fun time. He was also at Charlotte's AEW that we were at, and just a great dude. And when you told me that day, it hit me because I'm going through COVID and I'm in my feels. It hit me like a bat to the chest. It was like one of those things where I'm like, holy shit, that is terrible. And I can't imagine how you felt. So
it's tough, moving forward, he left behind a family, young kids. So it's just rough. And it's just rough to lose a friend, especially at our age. Our friends aren't supposed to be dying at this age.
Not at all. I mean? And even in a global pandemic, it had nothing to do with that.
But I mean, it's just tragic, but I'm still grieving. It's been hard to watch wrestling. But just move forward. I'm trying to be there for his family any way I can, just press forward. And
going through this during this time, we've all lost somebody that we love, and not necessarily COVID affecting everybody and losing somebody like that. But over the last 3 years, mortality itself has kind of been thrust into our face every day. You're seeing a total, you're seeing everything else. But then losing somebody like Justin was really tough for all of us.
Yeah, he was a true wrestling fan for sure, like hardcore. Him and I, I think I posted it on Instagram. Go back to Monday Night Wars and Sable Playboy spreads.
Sable's tits.
But that was a dude you ran to every Tuesday morning. Yeah, and talked about what happened the night before. I
loved it, man, and I loved being able to
we've been going through old pictures and stuff, swapping pics back and forth, and there's one really good one of him and the Young Bucks and Adam Page before AEW, like all kinds of pictures. But yeah, he wasn't a like you said, he wasn't like throwing in your face. He wasn't a super indie nerd, but oh man, he watched everything. He would text me all kinds of shit. Did you watch this? You watch this? I'm like, no, I didn't.
I remember, I think it was the day that we were leaving, right? We get up early, and Justin and I were the only two people that were up early, and we start like one-upping each other on YouTube for the most obscure stuff that you could. I'm like, well, have you ever seen Terry Funk get a finger in his butthole by Dusty Rhodes in Conway, South Carolina in 2005? He's like, no, but have you ever seen this? I'm like, this is incredible. So we had a great time kind of one-upping each other and having and talking wrestling. He was very knowledgeable.
I think one of the last texts I was going, of course, that's what you do. You go through old texts and conversations and stuff. And one of the last texts he sent me was, holy shit, did I just see a $2 steak sign during all in. I was like, yes, sir. Yes, you did.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, it ended up being very sentimental that was one of the last things. And that kind of hit me home too.
But yeah, we had it was a beautiful service last Friday, and, friends and family and the whole deal. It was very nice and low key. It's just what he would wanted. And yeah, we're going to miss him.
Mike, how was your last 2 weeks?
Like I said, worst fucking 2 weeks of my life. I mean, so what? Last episode, Elliot had eaten the Tylenol and gone to the.
I forgot about that. Oh my god!
Went to the fucking hospital, and then Amanda woke up with some heavier COVID symptoms on the Saturday. So I was telling Tolbert last night, it's like playing like, all right, do I call EMS? Do I drive her? Can't just ask anybody to come and watch the boys.
I was one of the only people that you were able to talk to.
I drop her off, and they're like, you can't stay. I was like, well, no shit, I got 2 kids in the car. So she had to kind of go through that, got cleared at the ED. But yeah, at one point I texted her, I'm like, hey, I have the boys and I'm not trying to like disrupt their schedule. You're the only other person in town that I know that I know is COVID positive. Could you pick her up if you have to?
Yeah.
And then, so we dealt with that. And then Sunday, Amanda noticed some things that were wrong, and she had to go back to ED. We ended up having a miscarriage, which really fucking sucked. I think a lot of people don't like, and everybody goes through their, I was kind of telling Tolbert this, everybody who knows somebody who's gone through it.
Yeah.
Like there's different stages and different kind of timelines for things. But I don't think anybody can really appreciate just the physical toll that the mother goes through.
Yeah.
And it's fucking graphic. I'm not going to get into it.
No, you don't.
But yeah, it's just real deep. And so, we're the blessing of the whole thing was we were quarantined. We were here. We were supposed to be in Ohio. So thank God we were here with our, support system that we could have. But it just fucking sucked because, you just watching her go through it, just trying to like give her let her be able to rest well. And then I'm like dealing with the boys and I can't fucking walk because my back's all broken. And just really, really tough. But, we're getting through it. She's visiting family now over in Nashville. So she's having a good time.
I'll tell you, being able to see her last weekend at the rugby game was very good. And Jasmine got to have spend all the time with her and just have one-on-one conversations with her. And Jasmine and I were talking and just how good it was to be able to talk to Amanda and be able to kind of see what she's feeling and how, because Amanda is the emotional support of our rugby team. Basically,
she's our team mom.
She's the team mom. She's the one bringing us literal orange slices and shit. She brought them last Saturday. And I'm like, I don't want an orange slice. I want to vomit. So, but to have the tables turned, it was something. You have to be able to help her when she is in need.
Absolutely, as well. And I think it was doubly hard, obviously, because it was our first time out in public post COVID, which is kind of emotional for you. You're like feel like you're accepted back into society and like you can actually do things and go to the store and do that sort of stuff, and then to layer that on top, like she really didn't know how she was going to feel. And I think, she did really well. And it's going to be a process that we're going to continue to get through. But I mean, I think we're comforted by the fact that we did everything we could have, and it just wasn't going to happen. So, But other than that, great 2 weeks.
Yeah, Cookie.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
what wackiness did you get? Did you get high? Cookie?
You play some disc golf, Cookie?
He's like, bro, I'm way too high for this conversation.
It's deep. I'm just like, damn, it's getting deep.
I should have. So, like, in retrospect, I should have started.
Cookie's over here getting high and drinking beer, going, fuck me.
Hey, Cookie, guess what? After 30, your life goes to shit and all your friends die.
I guess so.
God, oh my God.
I just celebrated the birthday last week. It's gonna be closer to 30, God damn it.
I forgot. Yeah, it was your birthday last week. Sorry. So, how did that go, Cookie?
It was on a Wednesday, man. It was boring. It was fun though. It was fun. Like I went out.
So tough. Your life's so tough, Cookie.
See, I knew I was gonna get shit no matter what. So, no matter what. No, celebrated the birthday. It was fun. Had a dinner. What else? Let's see here. I think I went to Aspen 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to talk
Rugger
about your
Fest.
Aspen trip. How was that?
Aspen was really cool. I think the coolest thing was that I got to link up with a couple of Cape Fear guys. UNCW.
Really? Who?
Bowden. Bob,
I don't know.
Bowyer.
He doesn't even know the guy. The guy's like,
I can't pronounce his last name. Bill Bauer.
Oh, Bill Boyer?
Boyer. I can't
What's
pronounce
he
his
doing
last
in
name.
Aspen?
He was playing with some random ass club, the Cardinals. I don't even know who they are. He was drunk as hell when I saw him, and he had a black eye.
Sounds like Bill, yeah.
And he was incoherent.
CT's gonna be listening to this track.
Dude, it was.
Who is
I was
Bill
like,
Boyer? Is he older?
He's like built like a wrestler. He's older.
I know who he is.
he always wears like
yeah.
a JMU jacket. Like
Yeah.
he's a JMU guy.
What was he doing in
That's
that?
what I said. What the
Doesn't
fuck?
he come to our games all the time?
Sometimes, yeah.
Dude, like, and then Brandon Neal. I also like caught up with Brandon Neal while we were up there, played together. So it was pretty cool, man. We got a couple of pictures and whatnot. Aspen was fun, but I got hurt, man, and it's just
How did you get hurt?
I injured my knee and my shoulder in the first game.
By playing real rugby?
Good thing,
Man.
weed's legal in Colorado, man. Get all that CBD.
Get some of that weed cream you rub on your
Actually,
skin, man.
Tolbert, it's funny you say that. I use weed cream on both my shoulder and my knee.
Does it get you high?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it does. But
So are you out for how long?
I'm going back next week. I've been out for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm going back next week. Other than that, boys, man, grad school's tough, man. It's really fucking
No
tough.
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
No
I did
shit.
like 5 years of my life in grad school.
Thanks.
It ain't that.
Thanks,
tough.
Cookie.
Hey, listen, man.
All you've had to do is fill out the that you've read the syllabus, and I'm
Yeah.
like writing a fucking research paper on how much I fucking hate marks. I don't hate all of you. It's just a lot.
You hate most of them.
you.
You hate about 85% of them.
So you're in grad school. You're on what, week 3 now at this point?
It's week 4, going on week 5.
And so my experience is a little bit different because we're on the the accelerated online learning program. So all of my classes are packed in 7 weeks. So I'm having to get my ass kicked for 7 weeks straight and then move on to the next one. You actually have a traditional schedule, correct?
No, I actually have a quarter system.
What?
Yeah, we have a quarter
Yes,
system.
2 weeks
Oh,
ago.
that's right. Yeah. They
I'm
do it
on a
different.
weird ass quarter system. So we are getting our shit packed in like for 8 weeks straight.
Yeah. Do you have to do like any more like anatomy and physiology or anything, or is it just all
It's all
like
psychology, right?
it's all psychology?
It's all psychology, thankfully. Like it's a lot of it's discussion based, but the field placements, like those internships, is where it really gets fucking tricky, man. When you're working with teenagers and stuff like that, and they're throwing different things at you.
Cookie rides up on a skateboard and he says, "How do you do, fellow kids? How would you like some marijuana?"
What it do? YOLO.
Oh, you guys hear the latest album by I can't think of a. Wait,
No.
who is it? MDK? Who is it? MGK?
MGK.
Oh man, he sure is a.
He's a hoot.
Oh my!
No, okay. I will say this really quickly. Like I'm working with the hockey team, and this will be the last thing I'll say. I'm working with a hockey team. They're under 14, and These kids,
See Cookie with a bunch of white upper middle class hockey players.
yes. Living in high scale Colorado. Like, imagine that. These kids, it's so funny. Like, these kids, like this one kid, he's like, yeah, call me G Money. And he is the whitest kid you will ever meet in your fucking life.
There are no black kids, right?
There is one Hispanic kid, and that's it.
Oh my God.
The rest are white.
Their minority quota.
Dude,
That's
yeah,
better than
barely.
most hockey. So
Barely meeting that minority.
This was NASCAR. They'd have a camera on the Hispanic kid all the time and be like, we're doing so much to make this sport integrated.
This kid is like, he's my height and he has a mustache already. And I'm like, holy shit.
It's like the Mighty Ducks, but they're all assholes.
Yeah, like, I'm like, God damn.
Mighty fucks.
And like, okay, and then this is the last thing. All right, these kids, like, they saw me and they automatically like stepped their black game up, like I could tell, because afterwards they all tried to dap me up afterwards. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? Get your white ass out of here.
Cookie, for the record, have we ever done that around you? I don't think so. Right?
No, you never done that. No.
All right, just making sure. I'm like,
I don't think so.
we do know that Aaron is black on the inside.
I am. Yeah, that's what
He is.
Facebook says. That's what Facebook.
And Derek.
And Derek thinks so too. Yeah, Derek was over here last night hanging out. Can I tell you, Cookie, and we have a confirmation. Last night, Derek was shit-faced, right, at my house because it was his birthday. Derek, Jasmine's father, came over with his beautiful wife, Paulette, and they were hanging out. Terry was like putting his asshole all over him throughout the night, and it was fun. But Jasmine wanted to have like a mixology thing for Derek. So she wanted to make him some great cocktails and have like a nice charcuterie board and just a good night. I wasn't able to spend it much with him because I was filming a football game.
Mm.
But when I got here, Derek was shit-faced by the time that I got here. So like I'm in the aftermath, right?
Yeah.
And we're just talking and stuff, and we were talking about Thanksgiving, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to leave, after Thanksgiving's over, like within that weekend, I'm not around. And he's like, what the hell are you doing over Thanksgiving weekend? And I show him the lineup for WrestleCade. We might have Derek Addison going with us to WrestleCade this year because he wants to meet Barry fucking Windham.
Yes, sir.
I was like, Derek's like, I don't give a fuck about anybody else. Barry Windham, Mike Rotunda, the U.S.
right.
Express. I am meeting those motherfuckers. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah, I started reading it off. And if you guys have looked at the lineup for WrestleCade, it's like
That's insane.
It's insane.
200 wrestlers, all that you know. And more importantly,
I'm gonna meet Rob Van Dam.
you're going to meet Danhausen is what you're going to meet.
Dude.
That's what I'm more excited about.
Very evil.
Very nice and very evil. Speaking of Danhausen, one plug before we get to our matches this week. Follow Travis RT.
Oh, dude, it's awesome.
He is doing Sketchamania this October, and each day is a bigger banger than the last. He has had some incredible art this already. So what do we've had? We've had the Bray Wyatt light. We've had Danhausen, which was incredible.
And Dude Love.
Undertaker and fake Undertaker. And there was like a couple more.
Brother Love.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Britt Baker.
Oh, the Britt Baker was awesome.
The Britt Baker was incredible.
Aleister Black.
Malachi Black, sorry.
Malachi
End.
Malachi was incredible. So every day.
Malachi commented, said it was fire.
That's right.
What about spin the wheel, make the deals?
Spin the wheel, make the deal. Speaking of which, that was at Halloween Havoc. What month are we in? We're in October. The next couple of weeks, we're gonna have to. I know
Havoc.
You have wanted to do a Goldust episode much, but we might have to postpone Goldust because it is Halloween season.
We've got Havoc. We got Halloween Havocs. We haven't talked about Misfits in wrestling. We haven't talked about a bunch of stuff.
So we've got spooky season upon us right now. So we will take a break after this week. I believe that Bret Hart is a good place to pause on. And then after that, we will get back with our Goldust episode. So Byron and Travis, fuck you guys. You guys did not ruin the podcast.
They tried.
They tried. Let's talk about some wrestling. right, for our first matchup of the evening, Big Mike, you have got one, the excellence of execution, Bret Hart against the 1-2-3 Kid.
Correct. This is for the WWF Championship, Raw, July 11th, 1994, where I believe they're in eastern Pennsylvania, possibly near the Pocono Mountains. We never did get an actual location for this, but I Googled one of the signs that was on the wall.
So that's in New York, right?
Poconos are in Pennsylvania. Eastern PA. Like I said.
Okay. Sorry, I was not paying attention.
It does look like they are in a field house, not a big stadium or anything like that. Just it looks like kind of a typical field house, probably about 10,000 people there. We get 1-2-3 Kid coming out. Clearly looks, he's excited. He's anticipating it. He's ready, but he also looks a little nervous. We get Bret Hart coming out to all the fanfare that is Bret Hart. A couple baby faces going after it. Owen and Neidhart. The Anvil come out. Apparently, they're beefing a little bit with Bret. They do get escorted out, but Owen drops some heated words for Bret. He called him a scaredy cat.
That's right.
And as Randy Savage went, ooh, those are some harsh words. Scaredy cat, scaredy cat. We do have Randy Savage and Jim Ross on the call. I really like this team.
They're incredible. Absolutely incredible.
They were, they moving on up in my stage and my categories of announcers.
I think that I mentioned it to you before. Jim Ross, I think, was taken aback by some of the things that Macho said, because Macho was so out there a few times.
He said some crazy shit. He also said some long-winded things, and you can tell when he's getting near the end of his breath.
The cocaine is losing its
the numbing effect on your throat. Not that I would know.
But yeah, no. And so a lot of people mentioned that CM Punk's match with Darby Allin was a callback to this match, where you got this like kind of established veteran putting over the younger guy, and how it's two baby faces and how they were able to kind of go and kind of do the match that they had. And you watch it and you're like, yeah, no, that was definitely a callback to this. There's even that one little spot. So it opens right up, collar elbow, 1-2-3 Kid does a little arm drag on Bret Hart, and he kind of sits there and goes, yeah, okay, this kid might, he's got it might be here. And so the opening is 1-2-3 Kid kind of throwing what he can at Bret Hart, and Bret Hart's taking it, and he's actually getting worked a little bit. Definitely was providing more than Bret appeared to be expecting. Again, and Bret's the greatest ever, so he's putting this kid over just in his mannerisms and is kind of how he's going about what he's doing. We get a classic Randy Savage line. I can't do it in his voice because my throat already hurts from just doing a little bit. He said that they both belong to the Mutual Admiration Society of Respect for Each Other.
I don't think that's a real society.
I tried Googling, it didn't work. No. But and then he calls back to his line. He's like, mutual respect, Jim.
Jim's like, I've already moved on from that.
Not to keep talking about Randy Savage, but Jim asked Randy if that's the last they've seen of Owen and Jim, and Randy goes, I don't know. How's that for a direct answer? But he yells at Jim when he says it. And I don't know, Jim. How's that for a direct answer? And Jim's just like, fuck. All right. Moving on. But sometimes you just don't know.
You don't. Especially with professional wrestling, when anything can happen.
Exactly. Things are starting to pick up a little bit. Bret is definitely kind of taking the upper hand, getting a little bit more offense. And Bret Hart throws probably one of the best European uppercuts in the game.
Dax Harwood posted a bunch of Bret Hart, because Dax Harwood's favorite wrestler of all time, much like CM Punk, is Bret the Hitman Hart. It's pretty fun. Dax has got all these like drawings that he did as a kid of Bret the Hitman Hart. He idolized this guy, and now they're friends. How crazy is that?
That's
right?
pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I mean, it's Bret, it's Dax, and it's Cesaro.
Right.
On these European uppercuts, and I don't know how they do it without hurting somebody.
I believe that they may have knocked Sheamus's jaw a little bit. I think.
Well, Sheamus also broke Cassius jaws.
What? No.
Cesaro did, right?
So Sheamus was the reason why he was doing a lifter, a European uppercut on Sheamus, and Sheamus took it wrong, and that's why he tore his bicep.
Oh, okay. I knew there was a little thing there. But anyway, best European uppercut in the game, and 1, 2, 3 Kid is just eating these things. At one point, Bret does an Irish whip in the ropes and knees him in the gut, hits some freaking power slams, and then we get the hardest Irish whip into the corner post I think I've ever seen.
It was incredible.
I mean, Bret didn't do much, and then the 1, 2, 3 Kid just literally assassinated himself on the corner post.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Darby and CM Punk also called back to a very similar spot to that. I think during
so.
Match.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just about the guy who's taking it, right? And
Darby is stupid enough.
Exactly, but it went full on, and this is like classic. I like this style of ring. There's nothing in the center.
Those are real ropes.
Red, white, and blue ropes. Blue posts, nothing stupid, no animatronics, no LEDs, no nothing. It's just very clean and basic. And you hear it rattle. You see the ropes all just start jiggling up and down, and like it literally takes your breath away just watching it. But guess what? 1, 2, 3 Kids is not giving up.
Resilient.
At one point, Bret had 3 near falls. 1, 2, 3 Kid had 2 near falls. And eventually Bret reverses. The 1, 2, 3 Kid went for kind of like a crossbody or something like that. And Bret reverses it into a back body drop. Gets him into a pin. 1, 2 Kid's foot gets on the rope. 3. And Earl Hebner didn't see it. And so they count it out. They play his music. They do all this sort of stuff. And Bret, being the ultimate babyface that he is like, no.
I can't win like that.
I'm not going to win like that. They send another ref out. They restart the match during commercial break. Why during commercial break without picture in picture? I don't know, but
maybe they had it. You never know.
So anyway, fast forward, match restarts. 1, 2, 3 Kid again is getting the upper hand, and I wrote down like he does the right amount of flippy stuff for me.
I loved 1, 2, 3 Kid.
It's not over the top. It's stuff with purpose, all this sort of thing. And at one point, he hits throughout the match, he hits a couple flush reverse kicks, like a jumping heel kick. And then we get this beautiful series where he hits a jumping heel kick. He whips Bret into the corner, hits him with this dirty drop kick. Oh my God. It looks so good. He throws Bret over the top. He hits a sunset, gets him back in, and then he goes for a moonsault and misses. And that's kind of where it starts. Bret starts kind of getting the upper hand again. Bret hits a bulldog all the way from the Calgary Stampede.
That's right.
Eventually Bret blocks a drop kick again. Kind of a beautiful move set. Kid goes for a drop kick off the top rope. Bret blocks it and immediately hits the sharpshooter. 1, 2, 3, taps out. Great match. Great speed, great everything, man.
I have mentioned this before. I was kind of along the lines of every other Mark who's like, Sean Waltman's got go home heat, X-Pac heat, they call it. People don't like to see X-Pac, but the more I see him, the more like the later me as a viewer now can appreciate the little things that he does to make matches look better than they are. Bret, no wasted movement. He's an incredible working machine.
And like you can slow it down while actually working. Like you don't have to like get thrown out of the ring and like walk around the ring. Or
how many tope suicidas did he do?
0.
That's
why I hate that move. And it was just great.
Don't laugh, Cookie.
There was two, one or two things outside the ring. Like that was it.
Yeah.
Everything else is back in the ring. Like I said, the kid doing flippy, kicky shit, but like with purpose, and they're not working to a spot kind of thing. I don't know. I just like that style of wrestling.
Oh, you mentioned going outside the ring. George South, when he trains people, gets irate if you take the match outside the ring without it needing to go outside the ring. George South is like, you can't win outside the ring. This ain't a false count anywhere.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. Great match. Did not feel like 22 minutes while watching it. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
Fucking Bret Hart.
Hits and shits. My toilet paper hit.
Very good. Yeah. Aaron's got some really nice toilet paper.
Very nice toilet paper. And Jasmine tried to get me to buy this recycled stuff that's like, who gives a crap toilet paper? And I'm like, I don't want to be wiping my ass with that stuff. I like to spend a little bit more money and get something that makes my asshole feel
especially
good.
after a Southern Benedict.
Yeah. Yes, Cookie.
I'm gonna agree with you, Aaron. I've tried to recycle stuff. It's ass.
Thank you.
Terrible.
I am going to clip this and send it to Jasmine right now. We are never doing that recycled stuff. The bear, what's the bear?
There's a couple things you need to spend money on, and toilet paper should be one of them.
I think paper towels are another one too.
Yeah, you get what you pay
those
for.
are my two.
You don't need to finger your butthole by breaking through the paper. Like, you want some good stuff.
No.
All right.
I mean, some people might, but no.
Hey, shout out social media. 178 followers on Instagram, 258 on Twitter. Moving on up. We've done like 0 tweeting or Instagram.
I did
Aaron
tweet
mentioned
something.
the Golden Corral.
I was talking shit. That Golden Corral commercial. These people get a full plate of food, and they put the ice cream sundae with the food. It's going to melt by the time you're done with the chicken.
I will say one of our tweets, which Aaron did, I thought was great because in the meantime, Dynamite did have a couple bangers during the last 2 weeks. The Arn Anderson Glock reference was amazing. And so Aaron tweeted out that the greatest promos ever were Steve Austin's 95, Dusty Rhodes' Hard Times in 85, Cactus Jack's Kane Dewey 95, Terry Funk's Forever in 83, and then Arn Anderson. I pull out my Glock 2021.
Absolutely incredible. Cookie, when you heard that, were you as shocked as we were? Because I think that was on your birthday.
Yes, I said, God damn, Arn.
I think we all did. He's just old and grumpy now. He doesn't have time for this shit. He'll just shoot you.
So Jasmine was in the shower at the time, and I'm watching. And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I like screaming out loud. Jasmine's like, "What's happening? Is Terry okay?" And I'm like, "Arn Anderson just said he was going to kill somebody."
Not just kill them, spread their brains all over the concrete.
Spread their brains all over the concrete. God damn. All right, man. That's
you talk about things that you didn't expect to hear at like 9:00 on a Wednesday night, and I think that's one of them.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Capital murder.
That's like the first time you actually see your dad get mad as a child, and it scares the shit out of you because you've never seen him get mad before.
So my dad is a murderer. Like before Dad started taking care of me, he probably killed somebody.
Bam! Bam!
All right, Cookie. Cookie, you have got the strong style this week. You have got one Bret the Hitman Hart against Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yes, the beast from the East. Guys, you know, I have a fascination with big men, that bump meat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Bam Bam is one of those guys. I've always had love for Bam Bam ever since Major Pain, 1994, whenever that movie came out.
I forgot that he was in that movie.
He was that bad guy.
They hire him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a biker.
They hire him to get rid of Major Pain. And you see that tattoo on the top of his skull. I'm like, that is a bad motherfucker. So I've always loved Bam Bam Bigelow, man. This is King of the Ring, though. How fitting is it that I get a King of the Ring match on the week that King of the Ring comes back and the Queen's Crown or whatever the hell
I forgot that it was coming back.
Well, did you see the opening stuff at the Queen's Crown?
No.
It's like the first 2 matches total was like 3.5 minutes of wrestling.
Oh,
and Roman Reigns' entrance is like 5.5.
All right, there you go.
Oh, gosh. Well, I say all that because those King of the Ring used to be my favorite tournament. So
Mine too.
I used to love King of the Ring. I just love tournaments, I think. Anyway, Bret Hart.
King Booker was probably the greatest gimmick of the 2000s, the mid 2000s.
King Booker definitely was one of the best gimmicks. I mean, you got Booker with this fucking. Booker is. Never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
What? Go ahead. What were we going to say?
Booker is black. He has a black man's accent, and you get that him trying to do like just a terrible British accent. There's just something funny about that.
Oh, it was incredible. When Crime Time stole from him and he went full like,
oh hell no. Oh hell no. Chef's kiss for Booker, man. But so Bret Hart has to go through. He's had to go through Razor Ramon and Mr. Perfect already to get to the finals,
which were two classic matches in itself. Two amazing matches leading up to this one.
You know, we're gonna have to save those for the archives because I want those.
Absolutely incredible. The Mr. Perfect match is incredible, and the Razor Ramon very underrated match.
Really? Okay. And well, I don't know who Bam Bam had to go through, but he had to buy in his first match or his second match.
Right.
So apparently he's fresh as a daisy.
Yes.
As Gene Okerlund liked to say. And Bam Bam's promo right before it, where he's like, fresh as a daisy, I'm going to go win the King of the Ring. It's just so intense. It's so early 90s wrestling. I loved it, man. And this is the first King of the Ring. This is the very first one.
Right.
The first thing I thought when I saw this video, 26 minutes, I was like, does Bam Bam have 26 minutes in him? And I know that's fucked up. But,
but it's a good question. He's a big boy.
He's a very big boy, and he's going against the excellence of execution. So I'm like, is Bret just going to work him the entire time? And you kind of get like the complete opposite, and it fits the story. But you got Macho Man on commentary. Is this a Macho Man episode?
It should be. He's not a part of the Bret Hart Goldust match, which we are finishing up on, but he should have been.
Macho Man and Earl Hebner.
Yeah, yes, 100%. But let's go ahead and get to the countdown.
Cookies, top 4, number 1.
Number 1 has to go to Bam Bam press slamming Bret Hart to the outside of the ring. I mean, props to Bret for taking that bump, because I don't know if I want that smoke being thrown outside the fucking ring by Bam Bam Bigelow. Let's go to the second one.
Cookies, number 2.
All right, Godspeed to the man in the front row who's behind that barricade when Bam Bam crashed into it, because that's how you lose a toe.
That is how. Yeah.
Like, it was terrifying. Like the barricade broke, and that you could tell Bam Bam like turned around and asked that guy if he was all right.
Yeah, you okay? Quick aside, did anybody notice the child that almost got decapitated when during the casino ladder match on
yes.
Wednesday night, where the kid they're holding the kid up and Jon Moxley takes a bump right into the kid, and the kid's like, I'm never going to a wrestling match ever again.
Yes, I was terrified for him. Oh man.
Number 3.
Why the fuck is Bret Hart doing flippy shit?
Because Bam Bam Bigelow, it only has a smidge of that in him.
A crossbody to the outside, like, it's borderline a tope suicida.
Shut up.
Like,
it's not.
What is? I was like, what the fuck?
He would dare never.
He was waiting to say that the whole time. As soon as Mike said that, he was
his eyes were.
Yes, that's exactly why. Because I was like, Bret Hart's doing flippy shit. What is going on right now?
Nope.
But
just fists for Bret Hart.
Hey man, hey, I respect it though. This is honestly, like, I never knew where I stood with Bret Hart.
Why?
I never knew where I stood because as a kid, I didn't really like technical wrestling. I did, but I didn't. Like, Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle were the technical guys
right
when I was coming up, and that shit was boring to me.
And also, by the time that you were probably watching wrestling, he had already finished his career. The Goldberg thing had happened, and Bret was no longer wrestling. And he was probably in those first 10 years were very bitter 10 years from Bret Hart. He was always bitching about people.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was, founded on truths. He was just kind of angry that his career got cut so short.
It did. No, it definitely did. Like, looking back, I have gone back and watched Bret Hart matches, and I love him now because, like you said, he has a motor in him that just does not stop. No wasted movements. I love the figure 4 lock, like around the ring post and stuff like that. Like, he has innovative moves. He just is a slower wrestler. That's all. But he's a great wrestler. And real quick side note, his WCW run, I've been watching it. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. It's absolutely, they didn't know what to do. And another quick side note. So I remember as a kid, I was watching, so A&E had a produced documentary about Bret Hart called Wrestling with Shadows. And like the first hours is kind of like Bret like growing up, and like it's a lot of backstage stuff of him kind of like getting pissy with Shawn, but nothing too crazy. And then they were filming this documentary during the Montreal Screwjob. And they see the like they were allowed access to see Bret Hart hock a loogie on Vince McMahon's face. They follow him backstage after this whole thing. But I remember watching this and being so fascinated with Bret as a person because of this documentary and just all the things that it kind of showed. Like his childhood was fucked up in a weird way. He had a huge family, but his dad was beating people's asses in the dungeon, and people were screaming all the time. There's cats everywhere.
A fucking bear? They had a fucking
bear. A bear underneath.
Crazy life.
It was like a circus life. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Grew up like a circus, like acrobat or something, but not traveling as much.
Yes, exactly. That is the craziest thing, man. But I'm gonna go to my honorable mentions because my first one's going to Bam Bam because he does a diving headbutt. He does a regular headbutt. He's whooping Bret's ass with one move for probably 10 minutes, but it's believable because it's Bam Bam fucking Bigelow, and Bam Bam really takes the lead on this match for like a solid 15 minutes, like a 10 to 15 minutes. He is just beating Bret's ass. Like Bret is not getting a lot of offense in. One of the things that I saw, man, very few people can utilize the bear hug like Bam Bam can. He makes it look legit. Like I totally bought Bam Bam's bear hug because, he's a hefty boy. And he's built like a fucking refrigerator. So I built, I definitely bought it.
Irony is he wrestled the refrigerator Perry at WrestleMania.
Very true. And he put over the fridge, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the favors for him.
Well, no, it wasn't the fridge. It was, maybe it was also LT. No, he wrestled LT is what he did. And he put over LT.
Oh, it was LT. But someone fought the fridge.
Yeah, I know. So fridge may have been in like a Royal Rumble, I think.
Oh, they saved LT for the Super Bowl for WrestleMania. Real quick, how about the story being told in this match, man? Bret, the underdog, just getting his ass kicked for like 20 minutes, headbutts, bear hugs, diving headbutts, backbreakers. Like Bam is really working that back, and he's working the head and he's working the back. And we get a spot right in the middle of it where it looks like Bam Bam is going to win that King of the Ring. He hits a diving headbutt, and they count 1, 2, 3, and then that damn Earl Hebner comes in. It was Earl Hebner, and I'm gonna blame Luna Vachon too, real quick, because Luna Vachon randomly comes out. Were they in the faction, Aaron?
Yeah. So Luna and Bam Bam were together. I thought. Like as a child, I had a very graphic idea of like the lovemaking that they like, lots of screaming and tattoos and angry things. And I was terrified of Luna. Luna terrified me as a child.
Dude, like I was going to ask you, what is your stance on Luna Vachon? That was literally a side note.
I love her as a character. I think she's incredible. She's a great worker. She was kind of before her time. And she kind of goes in there with the Sister Sherry era where it's like they're not really putting on matches as much. It's right before like Alundra Blaze and like Bull Nakano kind of come in and kind of legitimize the women's division and make it into something that's more competitive. But I think Luna's incredible. She's such a fun character, and she is technically a second generation wrestler, third generation wrestler.
Is she? Who's it? Like Mad Dog was
the
her
Vachon
dad.
family, Mad Dog. I believe they adopted her as a child, so they raised her as. So they're not necessarily blood relatives, but she was adopted by this family and kind of brought into the Vachon family.
Gotcha.
She was also a truck driver for a little bit after her wrestling career was over. She drove a truck, and she just has a very interesting story, which we will see on next week's Dark Side of the Ring, I believe.
I can't wait for that episode, by the way, because I've always wondered like who the fuck she was. Because as a kid, she was the oddities. Like that's how I remember her.
Yeah, half-shaved head with the tattoos on the side, and you see pictures of her like before she shaved her head. It was kind of a cool storyline. Kevin Sullivan pulled her into and like turned her into like a demon worshiping like goddess thing. But like before, she has a beautiful head of hair. She's a very pretty woman. Her makeup's not crazy. She doesn't talk like she smoked a pack of cigarette in an hour. So she is very interesting, and I'm very excited to see that dark side of the ring.
Speaking of dark side of the ring, real quick, is it me or does like Bam Bam Bigelow look like he should have been in Johnny K9's place?
Yeah,
like he could just switch places.
That
like,
is, we will talk about that later. I think I want to watch some Johnny K9 stuff in the future. I've heard a lot of Jim Cornette talk about him. So
same. I'll go ahead and finish up though. But Earl Hebner, Luna Vachon cost Bam Bam his King of the Ring crown. Because they didn't reverse the decision. I forget who's the Finkel. Was it Finkel? Yeah,
Howard Finkel.
Howard Finkel screwed up, and he said, we're going to reverse the decision. They call it back, and they said the match is actually going to carry on. And then it does carry on, and, well, you know what? I'll just go ahead and do number 4. Let's just do that.
Number 4.
So the match does end up carrying on, and you know, how fitting is it that Bret Hart wins this match with a victory roll? Like, I feel like that was the way it should have gone down, you know, and like Bret Hart took so much damage. Like, he was thrown into those turnbuckle posts so many different times, and like you could just see the ropes jiggling every single time. Bret sold his ass off in this match, man. But he ends up winning with a victory roll. The new King of the Ring, the very first King of the Ring, is Bret the Hitman Hart. He goes up to the podium. He puts on that god awful robe. He gets his scepter. He gets his crown. Gene Okerlund crowns him as the King of the Ring. And then who comes out but Burger King? Burger King. Burger King.
That was another one that we forgot to talk about in Sketchamania.
Oh, Jerry Lawler. Good old Jerry Lawler. Jerry Lawler comes out. He basically bashes Bret Hart. He said there's only room for one king, one true king in the WWF, and that is Jerry the King Lawler. And Bret Hart's rebuttal is, you are no king. You know what you are? You are the Burger King. And he starts one of the greatest chants that I've ever heard in my life. And that Burger King chant just, it rang out in that building, man.
The King of the Ring is the genesis of many incredible things. You know, you've got Austin 316 coming from a King of the Ring in a couple years, and then you've got Burger King, the greatest taunt of all time.
Yes. And of course, Bret gets his ass whooped for that. Jerry Lawler beats his ass, leaves him laying down the stairs, like just sprawled out on the stairs, knocked out, man. This was a great match. You know, kudos for Bret for making Bam Bam shine. It really made him look good. I don't think the win buried Bam Bam, you know, but your new King of the Ring, Bret the Hitman Hart. And all together, I'd probably give this 5 cookies.
There you go.
5 cookies. Great match.
So we've had 2 bangers so far, and I believe we've got one more match to go.
It's a third banger.
A third banger. The Bang Brothers today on $2 Steak. All right, for the high spot, I was going to call you the high style. A mixture of strong style and high spot. And it kind of is more of a high style match because it's less high spot and more. It's a good wrestling match.
This one's a little stiff. I don't know if old Goldie had a conversation with Bret back there beforehand.
Just hit me, and at this point, he's probably on all the like pain killers at this point. So you have got Goldust against Bret the Hitman.
Yes. We start off with heel Hitman.
Yes.
So he hates America.
This right. Yeah.
Don't we all?
I believe that would actually get over.
Yeah. So there were in Madison Square Garden. We're in New York, so a lot of Canadians there. You know, it's not far. A lot of flags.
Yeah.
And he cuts a promo, man. He's just I love heel Bret Hart, man. He's kind of like, I don't know. I watched a lot of it. He's just so cool. and badass.
I will tell you, I was like, why is he doing this?
Yeah,
He's hurting
Yeah,
me.
he's kind of like the dad from Angels in the Outfield. He just shows up and wrecks shit and leaves.
Can I make one aside to Angels in the Outfield?
Yeah.
One thing that always stuck with me is there's a player, like, he's talking to the Angels, right? Oh, no, like the kid is talking to the Angels. And one of the Angels says, "Oh, he'll be one of us soon." And like he's talking about the old player on the team, and I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Damn,
now that like
dark.
this guy's gonna die soon.
Revisit that movie as an adult, man. It's a
It's
lot
fucked
darker than
My mom took me to the theater
than you remember. Yeah,
beside the Independence Mall to go see that.
I love that movie. But anyway, here we are. Bret, cuts a promo. It's brilliant. He's saying, he's got the gold around his waist as well. He is a current champion. And he's saying he's not afraid of Shawn Michaels. He's not afraid of The Undertaker, which he'll have to face the winner between the two in the upcoming Survivor Series. But he say he's not afraid of anybody, man. He is the champ. He'll take any challenger whatsoever. Bring it on. Well, apparently this night he has to face Goldust for some reason for a non-title match. Goldust is a little angry because Brian Pillman ran off with his wife Marlena. We don't know.
God knows what they're doing.
God knows what they're doing.
But for real though, God knows what they are doing.
Blow.
Oh Jesus! And King is on commentary. You cannot let this go. He makes many comments.
Jesus Christ! Can we cancel Jerry the King Lawler from 1997 until?
I mean, if they're managing to cancel Ric Flair, we could probably cancel Lawler.
Yes, Cookie.
I was just thinking about it. Because I watched Tolbert's match right before I got on, and I was like, King should have been canceled probably back in 1997.
Yeah.
And all I could think was Brock Lesnar is going to show him or show her his penis.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And she's gonna no sell.
Allegedly. But
Jesus Christ.
that's where we're at. And so this is early Goldust. Dusty actually has like the split face like he rocks now.
Yeah, we mentioned that it very much looks a lot like
his current
character.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than he's just not as thick now.
Yeah, well, he wasn't too fat
he wasn't fat, but he's
a big
thick.
boy.
Because he gets fat.
No, he gets fat.
Oh, he gets fat.
In this match, he's
Goldust gets fat.
Oh yeah, he does.
I believe he also does the artist formerly known as Goldust, and that's Fat Goldust.
Oh, are we gonna do a Fat Goldust?
Can we do a 7 when he goes to WCW?
Isn't that just one?
And then there's what was when he was hanging out with Relic, which is killer spelled backwards.
I just want to make sure you
in that era of Goldust, Black Rain, maybe
so
was that his
many
name?
Black Rain. His name was Black Rain.
Thank you, TNA Cookie over here.
So many layers to the man that is Goldust. That's why we're going to devote an episode to him.
We have to do because like his Dustin years when he was American Dream Dustin Rhodes, incredible. He had a feud with we had one of Mike's favorite matches with him tagging up with Arn Anderson, and Arn Anderson turns on him in the end.
Yeah,
and then it just goes from there. He's an incredible guy. Gets kicked out for blading in WCW, goes to WWF, completely turns the American Dream into a homoerotic. A homo baiting somebody that is a heel
androgynous
because he is androgynous and homoerotic, and it becomes this character that every dad is like, I don't like that person,
dude. Everyone hated him growing up, like, man. And of course they, like Gold Man, getting all that, man.
And then he becomes one of the funniest characters with the stutter.
Yeah,
when he gets electrocuted and all that stuff, and then. He's just got such an interesting time, got kicked out multiple times from the WWF for doing drugs and popping positive, going to the Indies. We got to see the match with Dustin against somebody
Sabu.
on the Indies that Tolbert got to watch at one point. Against Sabu.
Yeah,
Sabu against Sabu. In the middle of like a fairground.
Yeah.
And now he put on one of the best matches of the past 30 years against his brother in AEW.
Yeah.
So What
Many
a
layers to the man.
storied career.
Yeah, but no matter how weird it got, man, when he's in the ring, he fucking works.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, and I don't know if just Bret has a lot of respect for him or what.
Oh, he does. Yeah. He didn't like the character.
Yeah, but you can tell Bret does have that respect for him because Goldust slaps the shit out of Bret in this match a couple times. Like, you can just hear the latex echo off his face when he slaps him, man. And he really doesn't reciprocate too much. He lets it do it. He makes him look very good. Like you said, he works, or Bret works constantly and makes the other guy look so much better just by him being in the ring and the way he sells and takes things. But man, this is a reason I love Bret Hart. I mentioned he just always looked like a badass. You know, I just love him in the ring, man. He just looks like pissed, man. He's at work. He's whooping ass, man. And he's serious to do a job, man. And he's not going to waste time doing it. So he starts going in on Goldust. Then out of nowhere, fucking Shawn Michaels pops up.
What a bitch.
Like to, I guess, try to distract him. And you can actually see the hate in Bret's eyes for Shawn because he sees him and you just see him go like, motherfucker.
And you know
like,
what, man? I was kind of putting two to two together. I think this may have been, was this right before the Sunny Days promo where he was talking shit that Bret was screwing Sunny in the back and like it ended up being like a thing and like,
I'm pretty sure it's
97.
It was right at the time where Bret went from not liking the guy to
fucking
nuclear
hating
hating the guy.
Yeah.
So Shawn is Intercontinental Champion at the moment, which he has taken from Goldust. So I think he's out there to taunt both of them, essentially, you know. But I think he just really wants a shot at Bret. And but Bret is like, you know, fuck you, man. I'm going to carry on. Shawn actually stays out there for the rest of the match, just kind of dancing around. At one point, someone throws a bottle at him.
Good. Good. He's a piece of shit. Good.
And he dodges it. But you actually see security, you know, getting riled up in the crowd because people are throwing shit at him.
And this is the time when Shawn was a literal piece of like he was a turd. He was a turd.
He probably ate sloppy steaks every
God,
night.
sloppy steaks. He used to be a piece of shit. Used to be a piece of shit. That baby, Hudson. If Hudson could tell that he used to be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Did you finish that show, by the way?
Almost, yeah.
Slop them up real good.
Oh, by the way, if you haven't watched, I think you should leave. You should watch it.
Jasmine
I think
is
we've mentioned
clueless
that
during
before.
this time.
I think that's like the third time we've mentioned that. Anyway, so pissed off, you know, Bret just keeps on, man. He's working on the knee of Goldust. You know the sharpshooter's coming. Dude, we were talking about how one of your favorite spots, Mike, is that knee spot where you prop the leg up.
He hates
on the rope,
I
and he just does like a Rikishi style splash on his knee.
I understand how they do it and protect themselves. I don't understand how more guys don't get hurt physiologically because like all it takes you to do is
and a PCL.
Your knee could be relaxed, but if you just tighten your hip up in anticipation of it, like then it's not going to allow your knee to freaking do it. And like it's a collateral move.
Oh, an LCL.
Yeah, but
Cookie's like, yeah, an LCL. That's exactly what it is.
I know where it is. Like,
no, you don't, Cookie.
But the match,
Cookie's like, I hurt my AC joint in my knee in the rugby match the other day.
He's going to be massaging a 14-year-old.
A white boy.
Yeah.
Stop it. Move on. Carry on.
They just call me G Money. Bitch, you're 13.
Did you go by Christian or did you go by Cookie? Did you introduce yourself as Christian?
No one knows my name is Cookie in Colorado. It's Christian.
Okay.
Except for Diane and
Chase. Except for Diane.
Does Chase call you Cookie?
Cook. He calls me Cook.
Does Diane call you Cook?
No, she calls me Chris.
Only in the bedroom.
All right, keep on moving. Keep on moving. Sorry, Diane.
Back to the match. Yeah, so Bret's whipping ass. You know the shooter's coming. And he tries to get it a couple times. And like you said, Bret never really goes outside the ring unless he has to. And he winds up outside the ring because Goldust does this cheeky little kick and like actually kicks him over the top rope while he's trying to lock in a shooter. It's pretty badass. We also get a figure 4 around the ring post. It was a pretty badass spot as well. And you have the ref yelling at him, come on, Bret, let him go, let it go. And he goes,
5.
Bret goes, why? Keeps on ripping.
But for real though, why?
Why?
Start counting if you want me to let it go.
We get back to the ring where eventually he does lock in that sharpshooter, of course. Goldust taps out immediately. And then we have our still champ, Bret Hart, kind of just, doing his thing. Then out comes a bunch of people. Actually, who comes out first? Shawn Michaels attacks him because he's already out there.
Because he's a piece of shit.
He's a piece of shit. He runs in, attacks. To his rescue comes Jim the Anvil Neidhart, part of the Hart Foundation.
Who looks like your...
Just like my buddy Josh.
We say that every single
uncanny. Time. It comes right at him. We get the Undertaker out there. We get all kinds of people. We get the Bulldog out there. We get
top class.
Yeah,
it's just
they
just go 1-for-1 matching each other. Who's back in the locker room, and Taker clears the ring in true Taker fashion, leaving Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart facing him, where he double choke slams the both of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you think the guys that came out to help each individual guy actually were on Team Bret, Team Shawn?
Oh,
probably. Yeah, probably. Like some of those
click bitches and the Hart Foundation.
Oh, wow. All right.
Let's get to
match, though. Great match.
Man, I have not heard a delightful poem from you in about 3 weeks. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Marlena ran off.
I love this already.
So, I forgot to mention the worst comment that King makes during the match. It says, Marlena didn't know there was a front seat to a car until she was 20 years old.
Dude, that
King, Jesus Christ.
And that's too old for King.
That boy. Yeah. Yes, Cookie.
I was gonna say, what is he implying here? Can y'all just double check? Just to double check, and you can take it out if you want.
She's doing it in the back. That's all she's doing. Is doing it in the back seat.
King, he likes him young.
Okay,
yeah, he does.
God, Jesus, King.
Anyway, Marlena, she ran off. Marlena ran off. Hitman's looking for a fight. Dust gets to shoot her.
That's right.
You saw it coming. You knew it was coming.
You saw it coming.
Crowd went wild.
What you didn't see coming was next week we're going to get back to spooky time just because it's Halloween era. We're going to have, of course, our annual, I got a burp, Halloween Havoc episode in a couple weeks. That's usually the last week of, so we will do it. We might even record it on Halloween this year.
Ooh, spooky.
Ooh, this
what are you going to be for Halloween, Aaron?
What am I going to be? I am going to be a COVID survivor patient, 35 years old, with a cat that I take to coffee shops and run a delightful Terry the Tailless Instagram account.
Well, it should be spot on.
It should be spot on. A man-child, some would say. Yes, Cookie.
Most would say.
One more thing, just to put a nail in the coffin for the Bret Hart episode, man. After watching that very last match, Goldust and Bret Hart or whatever, I really have realized that I used to like Shawn Michaels a lot more than I like Bret Hart. But after all of this knowledge, fuck Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
Bret Hart is fucking amazing.
So some people, and I was actually listening to, spoiler alert, I listened to a lot of the Jim Cornette podcast. And somebody sent in a question and said, why has Shawn's work not aged as well as Bret's work?
Yeah.
And Bret's work maybe not as appreciated then as it is now. And Shawn, who did lay the foundation for a lot of flippy stuff that have to come, a lot of the Young Bucks and stuff like that. But Bret is so much easier to appreciate now than he was maybe 15 years ago when people were like, man, Bret Hart, he's boring. But now I'm like, I want to see more Bret Harts and less Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Next week, do you guys want to do a Danhausen episode? Can we do a Danhausen episode?
I've never seen a Danhausen match. Let's do it.
Let's do a Danhausen match episode next week on $2 Steak. It'll be a very nice, very evil, lots of teeth, an incredible episode of $2 Steak, a professional wrestling podcast.